Now I have 5 projects. This is for all of us who are prone to be complainers. Here are 5 projects that you might try even Monday morning. And I know, boy, that's a tough one, Monday morning. Maybe you better wait till Tuesday morning before you try to overcome complaining. But if you're courageous, right, you could take your shot at overcoming or working on the problem of complaining even on Monday morning. Now, I know some of you in Australia, it's already past that. But for us in the U.S., Monday morning is coming around here tomorrow morning. So five projects. First of all, here's one. Commit to not make a single complaint for an hour. Now, I used to say commit to not making any complaints for a half a day or for a day. And honestly, maybe you better lower your expectations. So I just went out to lunch with my wife. I made a commitment from noon to 1 that I wouldn't make any complaints. And you know what? I just had to not talk a lot. Right? So make a commitment that you're not going to complain for an hour, because I feel like maybe that's realistic. The second project that you could do, and I'm calling these like rudder projects. In other words, words are rudders. Use positive language 80% of the time when you talk about your team members. There is a tendency for leaders to complain about the people on their team. So what I want to say to you is use positive language 80% of the time. So we're going to that Pareto principle, right? The 80-20 rule. And so 20% of the time, go ahead, you can say something, you can complain about your team members. So what that means is you need to say 8 positive things about the people on your team, an individual on your team, before you say 2 negative things. So use positive language 80% of the time. I just read an article by Zinger and Falkman about managers giving positive feedback. 37% of managers do not give positive feedback. That's the second thing then. Use positive language 80% of the time. The third project you could try on a Monday morning is express gratitude every time you feel like complaining. Now, this really takes it to a new level, doesn't it? You could say, I'm going to go for an hour without complaining on Monday morning. But to say, you know what, I'm going to say something positive. I'm going to give an affirmation or express gratitude every time I feel like making a complaint. Now, that really raises the game. So if you'd like to take on a big challenge, then why don't you try that one? Take on a big challenge. Say, well, rather than I'm not going to complain, no, I'm going to say an affirmation. I'm going to give thanks every time I feel like complaining. And maybe you need to limit that to an hour because it's a little unrealistic that you would be giving thanks all day, right? And by the way, don't tell people that you're adopting this strategy, because when they hear you giving an affirmation or being thankful, they're thinking, what do you want to complain about? So this has to be a private project that you might try on a Monday morning. Now, here's a fourth project that you could you could try on a Monday morning. Focus on what you can do and can change, not what you can't do and can't change. So filter everything that's going on and the things that you talk about through this idea of, can I change it? Am I able to change it? And then part of this also is, do I even want to change it, right? If you're not ready to get in the game, then don't even bother with it. Here's the 5th possible project that you could try on a Monday morning to deal with this issue of complaining, right? And that is team up with a no complaining partner. Team up with somebody and say, hey, I'm gonna work on my complaining. I don't want to do any complaining. Maybe you want to make it a big deal, right? So on all day Monday, no complaining. Again, maybe you want to make this Tuesday, but make all day Monday, I'm going to not complain. And so now you got a fine jar, right? Have you heard of this? So every time your friend or your coworker sees or hears you complaining, they raise their eye, right? And they say, oh, there you are. You got to put a buck in the jar. And then at the end of the day or at the end of the week, take your money and go out to dinner and have some fun. But make it fun, right? So team up with a no complaining partner. I'm so committed to this idea. Don't be in the journey by yourself. Find somebody to go with you. Find somebody to go on the journey. And make it fun. Don't make it oppressive. So those are the 5 projects that I'm suggesting you could try on a Monday morning to deal with this issue of complaining, because I know leaders are always seeing things that need to be improved. And if we're not careful, right, you end up being a complainer. So commit to not complaining for an hour. Then if that works, try to add a little on. Number 2, use positive language 80% of the time. We'll just go with Pareto on that one. Number 3, express gratitude every time you feel like complaining. Okay, so that's a tough one. Maybe you want to save that for another week. The fourth idea, focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. And the fifth idea that I want to give you is team up with a no complaining partner. Why does this matter? Because the quality of our life and the effectiveness of our leadership depends so much on our words, how we use our words. Words are rudders. Teams go in the direction of their conversations. Life goes in the direction of our words. Relationships reflect what we talk about. That's why it matters. And so I wish you a good week. This has been another edition of Leadership Freak TV. By the way, the post right below this one on Facebook is a link to the article that I wrote today, which is Sunday, about complaining. And if you look through on the homepage for Leadership Freak .blog, leadershipfreak.blog, you'll see that I've written 2 or 3 times in the last week about complaining. And honestly, it was so much fun. So I wish you a great week of effective leadership, and stay tuned for more of these episodes.